So my name is Iljitsj Wemerman. I'm the field coordinator for this district for care. I'm part of the emergency response team.
And can you tell me what happened when the earthquake hit? What were you doing? What were people's reactions? What happened there?
Yeah, so we basically arrived, I think, about 15 minutes before the earthquake really hit. So it was quite timely. We were sitting somewhere talking to some community leaders, talking to the police, try to get some data of the number of households and the needs in the area. And just suddenly, out of the blue, the ground started trembling enormously. Rocks started falling. People started screaming, running around. We also got up. We didn't initially know where to go to actually. There was some staff, they grabbed me by my arms. They were really afraid, they didn't know where to go to. I actually didn't also know where to go to. Very confused. The first couple of seconds were extremely confusing. I've never experienced something in my entire life like this. So there was a lot of rocks coming down from the mountain. Again, we were really high up in the hills. So I heard people screaming, children crying, and basically the first moments were complete chaos for me. This particular village was already severely hit by the previous earthquake, but there were still a couple of houses standing. Now they just completely collapsed, and they collapsed in front of us basically. So fortunately, most people were not in their houses. But some people were, and yeah, there were a couple of people very severely injured. Immediately the military people who were present there started looking for people, started to account people, and people basically gathered in one open space in the village and waited there because there were a lot of aftershocks and they were quite strong actually, so it was just very frightening. We didn't know when it was about to stop. People didn't know where to go to, what to do. We didn't know what to do either. We just waited. Yeah, and then still the ground was trembling, and well, it's impossible to describe it. I mean, it's so scary if there is just not one single place which is actually safe or where we actually can go to. Yeah, it was a very impressive moment, I think, yeah.
And then now, after this second earthquake in an area that was already badly hit, what do you think the main needs of the people are going forward? What's the biggest problems and challenges?
So there's basically two things. I mean, let's face it. There's need of everything at this moment, and particularly these villages high up in the mountains. They're so extremely remote. They're not easily accessible. Whatever support they can get, they need to get. There's two things in particular that need attention. That's one is shelter. People are now sleeping outside. They hardly have anything to cover themselves with. They need blankets. They need any kind of shelter, tarpaulins, whatever support they need on that. That's what people speak out to. They say, please help us with that. Second thing is hygiene at the moment. It's extremely dirty in these villages, and there is a definite risk of diseases spreading. So I do think, and we discussed it with community leaders as well, that this needs urgent attention in order to prevent any outbreak of diseases. Other than that, there is some food available now in the villages, but in the long run, especially because the monsoon is approaching now very soon, people are afraid that the roads will not be accessible within a couple of weeks, so they need to stockpile, and food needs to get there as soon as possible.
And so what is CARE going to be doing to try and help people now in this area and going forward in the response?
CARE is mostly going to target these most vulnerable people high up in the mountains, in the remotest areas of this district, and basically with food security with shelter and wash. We try to get as soon as possible hygiene kits to these villages, but also shelter material, because these are the urgent needs at the moment. In addition to that, CARE will also work in food security. We're going to provide beans, lentils, but also rice in this first phase to these villages, and in a later stage we're going to scale up and think about other forms of support in food security.
Okay, great.